Hello everybody, this is Starman and welcome back to Let's Play Betrayal at Krondor. Now if you've been paying attention, you may be looking at this map and thinking, wait, when the heck did we get all the way over here in Dencamp-On-The-Teeth? Well, I made two rather big mistakes between filming this video and the last one. Last time I announced my intent, having gotten to Tirasog, to go west, sell off all of the weapons at the weapon shop in Yavin that will buy nearly everything, and then start going back through everything and picking up all the stuff that we'd left on dead bodies, and going back here and selling stuff, or going to High Castle and selling it. I made one rather grievous error in that. I forgot that in this game we have the different little zones. You've got the one zone here around Yavin, got another zone around Krondor, got the zone around High Castle, got this zone around here around Caval Keep, and then we have the zone here that encompasses Romney, Sithnan, and the one zone covering the Dimwood. Well, whenever you travel between one zone to another, any dead bodies that are out in the open disappear, along with any gear that they were carrying. Now, if you leave something inside a chest, you can come back and get it later. So all of the dead bodies that we left with armor back here, gone. All the dead bodies from the guys that we killed here, gone. All the gear that we took from them, gone. That was mistake number one. Mistake number two was that when I continued trying to record moving eastward through Wolfram and Dencamp-On-The-Teeth, I forgot to have my recording software set up so it was capturing this particular window. So I only got audio of my journey through these two cities. Not that it mattered much, because really, Chapter 1, there's no combat, there was nothing interesting, just some random conversations with the peasants. And I did get to the Temple of Tith, God of War, and I did buy a few things at the magic shop, because yes, our first magic shop is here in Dencamp-On-The-Teeth. In fact, I'll go back just to show you. And good thing I turned around, because hey, another shell. But yeah, there were no enemies, no combats, nothing except the shell, and I just realized I'm totally heading the wrong direction. I'm going northeast. And yeah, check that body earlier, there was nothing. Yes, here we go, the Grumbling Magician, the first magic shop in the game that we encounter heading this way, and as you can see, we can't really afford anything here. Lightning Staff, it's a better fighting staff for Owen, but it also allows you to cast a spell called Skyfire that makes it rain down lightning. Ring of Pradur, Prander, we've encountered this before, it makes light. Eliam's Heart, this is, well, love the description on this. Slightly larger than the bald fist of a grown man, the hunk of reddish Chalcedony, I guess that's how you say it, Chalcedony, was free of marks except for the obvious letter inscribed on its smooth face. In legend, such stones were said to possess the power to summon a Rusalki lover, though Owen gave little credence to the claim. Yeah, because when it comes to lovers, what you really want is a ghostly woman who sucks the life out of you. Well, maybe if you're Dan Aykroyd, but that's neither here nor there. The Horn of Algon Cocoon, which this description reinforced that the bell and mouthpiece with brass collars. Owen struggled to imagine the beast from which the horn had been harvested. While possible it had come from a mature dragon, no man alive would dare fight such a creature for so trivial a trophy. Puzzling too are the dog shapes carved on the horn. Well, this is actually a Valheru artifact. The Valheru in Feist mythology were a race of beings also known as the Dragon Lords, because they conquered dragons and rode a road on dragons, and they fought each other on dragons, and they basically ruled the world of Midkemia before the gods of Midkemia came into being, during an incident known as the Time of Mad God's Rage. A lot of gods got killed, but the Valharu also got destroyed after one of their number, a being named Ashen Sugar, wound up turning on his own people and fighting against them for reasons which perplexed most. But he died as the last of the Valharu, and all of the Valharu typically chose an animal as their totem, and then some of them created beast races based on that. So Alma Lodak, who was the Valharu Mistress of Serpents, created a race called the Panathians, who are the Snake Men. There was a tiger race made by Draken Korin, who was the Lord of Tigers, and Ashen Sugar was known as the Lord of Eagles' Reaches, and he bred giant eagles that he used for hunting. And this is sounding a little bit like, oh, just like in Lord of the Rings. Yeah, kind of. Feist, he's a great writer, but he was not the most original when it came to borrowing concepts that have been seen in other fantasy worlds. His elves and dwarves are basically the standard Tolkien models that you see in other fantasy worlds. And nothing wrong with that. I mean, consistency does help a little bit. But Olgon Cocoon, never mentioned before in the books, was apparently the Valharu Master of Hounds, and his sacred animal was the dog. And then we got other stuff we've seen before: Enchanted Quarrels, Dalatail Milk, Fatinmora's Formula, and we have some magic scrolls, which I bought all these spells for Owen. There's also a Nightfinger's Scroll, which is a real rip-off of that, and I also sold most of our potions, since, honestly, apart from restoratives, we don't really need most of them. They're nice to have, and some of them get used in a few puzzles, but there's nothing that's strictly necessary in having them. So I do apologize for having skipped that part of the game, and I would go back, but unfortunately we cannot repeat any of the conversations that the peasants give us. So let's check out what we got here. Locklear sniffed the air. The smells coming from the house were heavenly, and they made his stomach rumble as he knocked on the door. An attractive woman in a brightly colored apron greeted them a moment later. She invited them inside and offered them some of the pastry she had just removed from the oven. They accepted graciously. "My name is Fia Halfgate," she told them. "I'm the second eldest daughter of Finlil Halfgate." She went on to speak of her late husband, and of a certain soldier at Northwarden she'd had her eye on. "He's responsible for preparing and maintaining the weapons at Northwarden. Perhaps you could teach me these skills so I may make a good impression on him. I could give you my husband's crossbows. I have no use for it. Will you teach me?" "Yes, we will." The lesson began. Fia watched with great interest while Gorath told her about his sword and how to keep it sharp and in good repair. After close to an hour, the lesson completed, she opened a wooden chest beneath her bed and retrieved a handsome wooden crossbow, and presented it to Gorath with a warm smile of thanks. They thanked her in return and left. So we have a medium crossbow. Useful, but probably not as nice as, well, actually, now that I think about it, I'm not sure if I have ever checked to see how a Surani medium crossbow, 40 plus, and this one is 15 plus. And there's a cave off that way, but we're not going to go there, because this is part of a quest later in the game, and there's no reason to go in there yet. And by that I mean I don't think it'll even let us go in there, or that there will be anything useful. And the trap. Okay, so we got a row back there, a row there. This one is rather easy, though. Alright, so let's see what we have in chest number 1. It doesn't live within a house, nor does it live without. Most will use it when they come in, and again when they go out. Well, that would be a door. Inside here are rations. This side of a wolf hair has the most hair. The outside. Honestly, that's more of a kid's joke than a riddle. And we have restoratives, some more rope, more rations, and more rations. Alright, and last we have... She has tasteful friends and tasteless enemies. Tears are shed on her behalf, yet she has never broken a heart. Well, this one I remember because it's kind of a pain. Onion. Tears are shed on her behalf. And yes, more rations. So yeah, we should be well and truly well fed at this point. And that right there is the road south toward Cavill Keep, but we're going to head toward Northwarden. And ambush. Goblin ambush. But this will give me a chance to try out my new spell. Now, Bane of the Black Slayers. Only useful on the Black Slayers, which, in Feist mythology, Black Slayers are creatures, basically they're super zombies. They are men who swore dark oaths to evil powers that allowed them to continue fighting for whatever dark cause they pledged themselves to, even after death claimed them. So it's a damage spell, but it only works on Black Slayers. You try and cast on anything else, it won't do anything. So let's see, Danin's Delusions. Creates an illusionary character. Well, this can be fun. So first we click one character, and... that'll hopefully keep that one from attacking us too much. And yes, we have well and truly blessed Locklear's sword. Easy peasy. And you might think that I may have made the game a little too easy on myself, having grabbed all of this stuff this early in the game. Not even close. Because this game does have a very steep curve as far as combat goes. And yes, I completely forgot that all these rations... I don't have room to get any loot. Thankfully, we won't have many combats to worry about traveling the way we're going. Not even enough room for a shell. Okay, then, to Northwarden. Music drifted on the wind. At first leaving himself losing the wits of the grind of traveling, Locklear paused and then picked out the very melodic strains of the shores of Karse coming from a clump of trees near them. Abruptly the music stopped as an unhappy-looking young man dropped out of a tree, his lute slung over his back. Well, actually, he's holding it in front of him, but that's neither here nor there. I've just come from Northwarden. I don't feel like playing for him anymore today. My fingers are numb, my mind empty, and my stomach grumbling. calm yourself. We haven't come from the castle. We're just travelers wandering through who heard your music and thought we should see who was responsible. So what is a songbird doing among the falcons? Expiring, I fear. Do you know that I can sing the love theme from Alia and Tryphus? I can play most of the Rise of the Kingdom cycle. I know by heart the whole of the Tears of Valerinesis. But these men, these monsters only have one song they want to hear, and they ask for it over and over. The Old Man's Wind. A song about eating beans. Well, why do you stay here, then? I haven't the choice. When sharing a cask of ale with a friend, he told me of a small village where the wine was exceptionally strong and the ladies exceptionally thin. Once sober, I resolved to take myself to this wondrous place and avail myself of its pleasures. To my horror, I found that my friend mixed his metaphors, and I was laid upon by a lady who could tear the teeth from a bull bare-handed. Before I could extricate myself from such humiliable circumstances, her father, a baronet of some note, exiled me here to entertain for the Baron Gabbett or else sacrifice my head. I'm surprised he didn't have you beheaded. Well, his daughter was less than maidenly, and secondly, he hadn't the fealty to pay for the year. As the Baron Gabbett is fond of music, they sell that I should even the debt. I see that you're a noble of some note, so if you could do me a favor, perhaps you could ease the stress of a minstrel's life. Perhaps. What can you want? A length of light bowstring. While it is not immediately usable to me, I have found a resin that can be applied to it that will allow me to restring my lute. I have a feeling I might need new strings soon. Hey, by happy coincidence, as luck would have it, we have one with us, and I imagine we can part with it. A favor for a favor, then. Over the past few weeks there have been several sows sown from Northwarden, so I wrote this little song to commemorate the event. It's silly and short, but I hope you like it. It's called Northwarden's Pigs. And we don't have the music here, so I will read the, I won't try and do a verse to this, but I will read the lyrics. In the north, the more at hell are vicious to a man. Get too close, they'll run you through any way they can. But know at night the kingdom's safe when warden's at the pass. But count your piggies by the dawn, the soldiers lose them fast. They squeal with joy and wink delight, these piggies of the realm. But count 'em up, head and all, the soldiers lose them fast. Thank you, Tammy, that was most enjoyable. I'm afraid my companions and I must be off again. Things to do. I bid you farewell, then. Come and see me again. If I ever come to Northwarden again, you can be assured of it. Good day. And yes, everybody's barding ability just increased. 1946, and well, Owen's ability cannot increase it anymore, but still good deed, shining in a weary world. And spoiled rations. And oh, Northwarden is the other path. Yeah, there we go. So that path leads off to the north, and then Northwarden is this one here, which does have the Mordhell dead bodies on it. A treacherously narrow path on its way up to the front gates of Northwarden. Northwarden, castle, scarcely wide enough to allow two men to walk abreast. Locklear strolled into the trees. Seeing a suspiciously large pile of leaves, he prodded at steps, but was reason to find that no one left a trap. Still curious, he continued to burrow, and 2 gold. Well, 2 gold is 2 gold. We have the palace and a shop. And nothing here at the moment, unfortunately. Left as a legacy in Northwarden by a baron who cared more about leisure than practicality, the Great Hall was still maintained with military discipline, no corner of it left unscrubbed or cluttered by the unnecessary. And hey, the Ironmonger. So let's see, we got expensive dragon plate armor, fancy goblin sticker, nervous sword of Krondor, Grey Tower plate, which that's... I know it's blessed, but let's go ahead and ditch that. Now, let's see, well, can we... Okay, they won't take the shovels. They'll take the rope, but not the shovels. let's see, Alpha Fane's Icer, that lets you put ice damage on your weapons. Kaltari Poison, in case we need to buy poison, and some rather cheap restoratives for the price. So he's got 6, 4. Well, just for the heck of it, even though we can't go that far north, let's go ahead and see if we can explore the past of the north. And yeah, I'm thinking that well might be a bad idea, this close to the front. Locklear shook his head. I don't like the idea of going this way, he said. We can't accomplish anything that far north. All those up there is completely controlled by Morad Hell, and be walking straight into the enemy's hands. Okay, so no journeying into the Northlands yet. And south then. South to Cabal Keep. Actually, before that, one other thing I did do in the last video that I didn't get a chance to show you that I should do, because I think I've got enough to do something again. Is that I did go to the Temple of Tith and get Goraf's Armor Blessed. You'll note that it now has the red cross for a +3 enhancement rather than the +1 enhancement of the mere weak enchantment that we had. And let's see, got turned around a bit trying to get there. Let's see. Yes, there it is. And just in time for nightfall. And okay, thankfully it will let us repeat this conversation. So, battle standards floated over the heads. Escorted into a room which looked more like a king's banquet hall than a sacred chamber, Locklear feasted his eyes on the hundreds of war banners and shields which were hung on the walls. The room's most prominent feature was a long table which stretched the length of the torchlit hall, and was covered with statuettes which looked like soldiers. A priest sat on the far end of a table, rearranging a cluster of the bone figurines that were before him. Larger than even Goraf across the shoulders, the Father Patriarch looked as menacing a figure as any that Locklear had ever seen. "This looks like a war council," Locklear observed, noting many of the figurines on side. "Of a sorts," the Patriarch said without looking up, scratching at his gray-streaked beard. He moved another piece, but seemed unsure of its placement, as if he were moving it on someone else's advice. "Here I merely observe. Others plan this battle." "Whose battle?" The Father Patriarch looked up, glanced up, his wolfish eyes fixing on them. This battle? It unfolds in the south of Kesh, near the Confederacy. I fear that the Empress Lakisha's forces are far superior. Her dog soldiers will crush the rebellion soon, I should think. Locklear nodded as he looked over the lay of the battlefield. "How do you know where everybody is? Does Tith tell you?" The priest shook his head. If the war god wished to tell me, it would take all the enjoyment out of making my guesses. I have messengers arriving daily to tell me how things transpire. Thumping the hardwood table with his fist, he looked at another group of figurines and moved to rearrange them as well. Sometimes I am surprised. I see. I just wish you could tell us about the Mordhell plan in the north, could you? Locklear asked, a little nervous about the presumption. No, the priest replied. I would be greatly interested, but all those messengers of mine I've dispatched to check have been killed. Since I have less priests than I have curiosities, I've decided to wait until I had either more of one or less of the other. Suddenly another priest appeared at the door to the chamber and hurried over to whisper in his superior's ear. Cursing, the patriarch thumped the table again. I have other things I must attend to, the priest said gruffly, as soon as the other priest had scurried away. I would offer you some redweed brew, but I have none to offer you, so you'll have to find some elsewhere. Good day, men. And yes, we can try and get a crossbow blessed, but the it may not be blessed because for whatever reason has been deemed inappropriate. And it will cost 900 gold to get Dragon Plate blessed. Now we try and bless an item that is appropriate. A priest accepted the item. Carefully he laid the goblin sticker on a low table covered with a white cloth while he flipped through a book which he retrieved from a cluttered bookshelf. Flipping through its tattered pages, he found a column of numbers and ran his finger down them. I've always wondered why the price of a blessing varied from item to item, Locklear said, watching the priest. Does it have something to do with the gods? Rather more to do with how the item was made, the priest explained. If there are any special metals used in its construction, or suppose used to bend the metal, then they become factors in how difficult it will be for us to make a blessing stick. Looking closer to the page, he stabbed at a figure. Ah, here it is. For a goblin sticker, it'll be 235 sovereigns. Close, but not quite. And if we try and do it on an item that is already blessed, Goraf presented the elven armor to a priest. Running his hand over the metal, the young man frowned, and then glanced up at Goraf. This has already been favored by the gods. If you wish, I may remove the enchantment upon it, but you should know the potency of an enchantment varies between temples. It may be that our blessing would be less effective. How so? Goraf asked. It has to do with the nature of the gods. The deities who are counted as more forceful have the strongest enchantments. These would be Lim's Kragma, Kahuli, Dala, and Tith. After them come the moderate gods, Killian, Silban, Rufia, Banef, and Astalon. In order, Lim's Kragma is the goddess of death, Kahuli is the god of revenge, Dala is the god of, the shield of the faith, the defender war god, Tith is the offensive war god. Killian, we encountered her temple before, she is the goddess of the sea and the goddess of nature. Silban is the goddess of the harvest, Rufia is the goddess of luck, Banef is the god of thieves, and Astalon is the god of justice. The rest of the gods and goddesses seem to be more passive when it comes to human affairs, and their blessings tend to be less effective. Yeah, curiously enough, the goddess of healing, also known as Sung the White, does not like blessing weapons. Well, I cannot be sure of which of the temples placed this blessing on his weapon. I may remove it for the enchantment. You wish me to do so? No, because we actually got this one blessed at Tith, and Tith blessed it shall remain. And just to show you how far we've come, 159 gold, we could transport ourselves to the Temple of Killian, 123 Temple of Bishop, and 102 the Temple of Dala right there. But we are not going to teleport ourselves just yet. So I think that covers most of the ground that we lost with my lost video, apart from some not very funny peasant conversations or anything very helpful at all. So next time, we will begin on the road to Caval Keep. We will see you then.